Happy Friday, January 26th, 2023. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live here on LFA TV. Rocking and rolling for 2 hours today, baby. Filling in for the great Ryan Mott. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We're going to be talking Civil War. Did it just start? Apparently half the states in the country, more than half of the states in the country now, have joined with Texas, saying that they will deploy their National Guards to the southern border to stop the invasion. We're going to talk about several myths that are going on right now, several media myths that we are going to debunk live on the show. Most importantly, that Donald Trump somehow is trying to stifle this plan. Also, breaking news at this hour, Mike Johnson has come out and said that the border deal the Democrats have put forth is dead on arrival because it comes with Ukraine funding. Because it comes with Ukraine funding, we don't want any of that crap. To hell with Ukraine, not really a big deal. We will get that all worked out. Also, we are going to be talking about some culture, baby. We're going to be talking some culture because the rapper Tom McDonald has just released a song featuring Ben Shapiro. I have not seen it yet. We are all going to watch it live together. I don't know how that's going to work, Ben Shapiro on a rap song. But it could be amazing. It could be awful. I have no idea. We're going to listen to it together. Also, Tucker Carlson drops a smackdown on Justin Trudeau and Canada, which is never not funny because Canada, in the great words of the guys from South Park, blame Canada. Blame Canada for all things. Blame Canada for everything. Also, we are going to make fun of a very dumb person, Taylor Lorenz. I don't know if you guys know who Taylor Lorenz is. She is a professional victim who says words on the internet all the time. We're going to go over just how much not a victim she is as we see massive layoffs across the media ecosphere. Also, new ratings for CNN, only getting worse. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. Also, guys, at the very end of the show, you guys know we like to have fun here on Fridays. You know we like to have fun on Fridays. So we're going to giggle. We're going to laugh because I've got a ridiculous story out of Miami, which really is pretty much the quintessential Florida man as it has come to be known. Everyone knows what the Florida man reference is. So we'll get to all that. Oh, my God. Now I'm singing Oh, Canada. Thanks, Kevin. Oh, no, stop singing Oh, Canada. Don't do that. Don't do that. Blame Canada. Blame Canada, not Oh, Canada. Blame Canada, not Oh, Canada. By the way, you guys might know something different about the studio today. I've said openly that I'm not going to give my opinion on the vice presidential pick. I'm not going to give my opinion on the pick. I'm just going to let you guys look around me and see what sorts of things are in the room. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to give my pick. I'm not going to say I agree with any particular doctor from Albania. I'm just going to leave things up on the wall and see if you guys figure it out yourselves. But let's get rocking and rolling here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Share this video out all over the place. Let's go. We are going to have some fun at the expense of stupid people today, which is a lot of fun. Oh, Sagan McGroin. We are going to have some fun with Taylor Lorenz because she is a victim. She is a victim of you. She's a victim of me. She's a victim of the system in its totality. We're gonna see that. Who is that in the picture? Someone let me know. Someone let them know who is in the picture. I'll just leave that there. How you doing, Bad Moon Arrow Pink? How are you doing? Jay Lee, how are you? Sagan, I said hello to you already today. I said, how is everybody doing today? Kevin framed it. In fairness, Sly, it was already framed. I just moved it. Just to be clear. Alex Ann, how are you? Sanders, what's going on? TD Hodges, hello, hello. Doing good. I am doing good today. Once again, 2 hours of me today. So let's get rocking and rolling and rocking. Giddy up. So the breaking news at this hour, this just in from Senator Mike Johnson, the Senate bill funding the Ukraine war and Biden's border security is dead on arrival in the House. This is from the Post Millennial. According to Speaker Mike Johnson, good. On Friday, House Speaker Mike Johnson said in a letter to colleagues that a package in the Senate, which included funding for Ukraine and addressing the border crisis, would be dead on arrival in the House. Quote, I wanted to provide a brief update regarding the supplemental and the border since the Senate appears to be unable to reach an agreement. If rumors about the contents of the draft proposal are true, it would be dead on arrival in the House anyway, Johnson said in a letter to his colleagues, that according to The Hill. Now, look, I want the border clause more than anybody. However, Democrats, the Unipart, not hold America First patriots hostage, saying that they will only fund the border if we fund Ukraine. And I want to make it clear. I want to make it very clear, as I have on this show numerous times, I am on the side of Israel, but Israel funding should not be contingent on the border. Border funding should not be contingent on Israel funding. Bring up each one of those single issue votes, up or down votes. Let's go, giddy up. Taiwan funding as well. That doesn't make me pro-Chinese. Just like not wanting to fund Ukraine in addition to the border doesn't make me pro-Putin. It doesn't make me anti-Semitic to want to have up or down votes. I think we should help Israel separately. I want to make that very clear. I don't necessarily as a how should I say this? As a concept oppose helping our friends. However, we need to take care of home first. If your house is on fire and a house on the other side of town is also on fire, you're going to put your house out first. That seems to be the only natural thing to do. As a matter of fact, immediately following this show today, I will be in a Twitter space talking about this. Let me throw the Twitter link in the chat real quick. If you guys are on Twitter, hit the follow button over there. I'll be in a space with Mario. He's one of the biggest space hosts in the world. Let's see. Follow here. Let me put that right in the chat. If you guys want to hit that follow button, if you're still on Twitter, I think you should be on Twitter. Let me throw it in the comments. Follow me on Twitter. I think you should be on Twitter. There's a lot of good information going on there on Twitter Spaces, as you've heard me talk about numerous times. But the border funding is now contingent on Ukraine, and I have no doubt. Let's just be honest here. Let's have no illusions. Let's say this is $100 billion bill. Let's use round numbers. Let's say it's a $100 billion bill. I have a feeling that when it gets broken down, the majority of that bill is not going to be going to the border. The majority of it's going to be going to Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan. It's not going to be $80 billion going to the border, $10 billion going to Ukraine, $10 billion going to Israel. It is going to be the other way around. Let's just be honest here. Let's be real about this. So Mike Johnson sticking with us, saying that it is dead on arrival. Now, this comes as over the course of the last couple of days, we have seen a real fracturing of the nation. A real fracturing. As you see from the title, Did a Civil War Just Start? This from the Post Millennial. Now 25 states stand in solidarity with Texas amid Biden's border invasion. Are you ready? Is your state on this list? Is your state on the list, guys? Let's see. Arkansas, Florida, Alabama, Alaska, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Louisiana, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Tennessee, South Dakota, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming stand against Joe and Indiana. Excuse me. Don't want to leave out Indiana. Go Hoosiers. So far, by my count, let's put that in terms of the electoral map. 231 electoral votes right there. That's without Kentucky. That's without any of the swing states. 25 states, 26, including Texas, standing with Texas amid the border invasion. We have not seen a fracturing of this country in this sort of way in quite some time. Let's get to the news on that. Before we do, guys, hit the thumbs up button, share this video out. Let's go. This way you guys can get the information you want. Apparently, BlackRock is trying to take us down, just like they're trying to take down Steven Crowder. And in the words of Tucker Carlson, hey, BlackRock, 25 states now back Governor Greg Abbott's actions to secure the U.S.-Mexico border. We read off the states. Biden has continuously tried to blame Congress for the border disaster that has seen 10 million illegal immigrants cross into the United States. But as he tries at each step of the way to stop Texas from securing its own border as well as a national one, that becomes increasingly hard to believe. The governor's support Texas comes after the Supreme Court sided with the Biden administration, saying that Biden's border guards could cut the razor wire installed by Texas to keep out the flood of illegal immigrants that have been pouring across the border. Many of these individuals have cited Biden as the reason for them believing it is the right time to come under this administration. Now, obviously, we know that these people are coming across here. There was a guy. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. There was a guy. There was a guy who is a terrorist from Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is actually a relatively secular country. As far as Middle Eastern countries go. There was a terrorist from Azerbaijan who got caught on the U.S. southern border. He had done time in Azerbaijan as a terrorist. I'm still looking to find out all of the details on that one, but apparently this guy did like 11 years, and they caught him on the border, and when they asked him why he was coming, he was like, well, if you don't know, you'll know soon. That's terrifying. But as Joe Biden loves to say, nothing to see here. Nothing at all to see here. 25 states now siding with Joe Biden on that. The former President Donald Trump, who is running to unseat Biden and serve out his second term, spoke in favor of Texas's action on Human Events Daily. His press secretary gave the campaign endorsement of Abbott's border barriers and the National Guard he deployed at Eagle Pass. On Truth Social, he spoke out not only in favor of backing Texas, but urging all willing states to send their National Guard as well as help Texas hold the line. Now, many in the media, many Democrats and Mitt Romney are all trying to say that the president, the former president, has stifled Joe Biden's attempt to close the border, because they want to run as a campaign issue. Donald Trump straight up came out and said, yeah, send your National Guard in there. So all of the jockeying going on in the media about how Donald Trump wants to keep this as a campaign issue, it is exactly that. It is complete and utter nonsense. I have no doubt that if they shut the border down tomorrow, Donald Trump would still win, because even if, and look, there are some times that people do this. Sometimes people do this. They don't want an issue to be solved so that they can campaign on it. 100% that happens. But even if they close the border down tomorrow, Donald Trump would still be able to run on the fact of getting rid of 10 million people who have no right to be here in the first place. Yesterday in a Twitter space, I got into an argument with some guy named Grant who he runs an organization called Occupy Democrats. They are most famous. I believe Kyle Kulinski is a part of them, and Crystal Ball, whose stuff we've used on the show before, because she's a little nuts. But the production value is very good, so I like to use it. They dumped millions of dollars into the AOC primary a couple of years ago, and naturally his only answer was that I'm a racist, to which I responded, no. It has nothing to do with race, because I promise you, if there was some sort of second Irish potato famine, I would be stopping all the Irish immigrants from coming in. If you're from Denmark or Sweden or Switzerland and you're trying to come into the country illegally, you need to go the hell back where you came from. Come in the correct way. I don't care who you are. You try to come into this country illegally, you get the boot. And at this point, I think it would be best off for Americans not only to give them the boot, but to find the biggest boot imaginable and push them away from whence they came. Look, there was a time in this country where we needed immigrants, 1,000%. So this notion that America is a land of immigrants, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. And if you trace back far enough in human history, everyone came from somewhere originally. Then we decided to be civilized, and we invented countries. We created nations. And those nations developed cultures. And the people who live in those countries enjoy those cultures. We want to keep them. We like things the way they are here. Because guess what? And I will openly admit this. You're right. A lot of people live in really shitty countries. Whether it's poverty or famine or drought, civil war, gangs. No doubt. If I lived in Honduras, I wouldn't want to live there either. But I don't know why that's my problem here as an American. Why don't you stay home and fix your own country? Because there are two versions of immigration, of the need for immigration, that we hear from liberals. Both of them are actually incredibly racist. Both of them, let me see if I can pull this up. I don't want to say it because this is a quote from Douglas Murray. He's currently, I think he's on Fox now. I know he fills in for Piers Morgan sometimes. Let me see if I can find this clip real quick, because Douglas Murray puts it very eloquently, and I want to make sure I get it right. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. You know what? As I'm pulling this up, guys, hey, guys, take a minute and check out Mike Lindell. Oh, no. Why isn't that working?
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog beds.
Whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD for 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. So here are two arguments that get used very often when it comes to the need for immigration. And I want to make sure I give credit to the source here, because I think Douglas Murray is incredibly smart. This is him speaking at the Oxford Union a number of years ago. I think he's speaking like 11 years ago. And he's talking about immigration in the context of Great Britain and Europe. But the same arguments get made here in America. Here's Douglas Murray. Oh,
you're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good.
Sorry about that. Can't seem to get that one pulled up right now. Let me see if I can get it pulled up. Give me 1 second.
The first is the inevitable argument that the reason why we need mass immigration and have needed it is because there are jobs that British people will not do, and we need to import people to do those jobs. Let me say to you as frankly as it is possible to say, that is one of the most racist arguments you can hear. It suggests that there are jobs which British people not only don't want to do, but shouldn't do, don't have to do. We don't have to even encourage them to do. Please, you've had your go. We don't even need to encourage them to do. But we will go around the rest of the world and hoover up people who are willing to work for nothing because it provides us with cheap nannies and cheap waiters in restaurants and so on. I think it's a lamentable argument. The second argument you can hear, and we've had it already tonight, is the argument about the hoovering up, as I would put it, of the other end, as it were, of the economic spectrum, that it is the best idea possible that we will travel around the world and hoover up nurses and doctors in Africa and across other regions of the world, that we can take people from the third world who the third world has superbly educated and make sure that they benefit us. Again, I think a lamentable argument. Look,
and you know what? I really want to talk about those two arguments because there is something incredibly racist. And we heard Jerry Nadler say this the other day, that if we don't allow mass immigration, then who's going to pick our vegetables? You heard, I think her name's Raven Simone, I don't know who she was, a number of years ago, talk about immigrants cleaning toilets. You know, just the most vile disgust. You want to know who should clean your toilet? You. That's who should clean your toilet. You want to know who should mow your lawn? You. That's who should do it. You know who should be doing the work around your house? You. That's who should be doing it. Maybe if we started doing those things, maybe if we didn't spend all of our money on luxury items like insane landscaping costs, maybe we'd all have a little bit more money. But instead, what do? We import cheap labor from the third world because restaurants don't want to pay more for busboys. I'm sorry, the argument that we need more people to clean our hotels is complete and utter nonsense. It is. Now let's get to the second argument on immigration. We need to import people to this country who can fill even better jobs. Mechanical engineers and nurses and doctors. No. Is it possible? Is it possible that the reason why the third world has been the third world for so long, because all of their computer engineers all live in Santa Barbara? They all live in Silicon Valley? Could that be possible? Could it be possible that all of their nurses and doctors are currently working in hospitals in New York City? Maybe Nicaragua could use a few more doctors. Either way, none of this is good for the home country, because guess what? If you start importing all of these people from the third world, you are going to see, we hear it all the time about colonialism and what we did to the Indians. We stole their resources. Well, what do you think human resources are? What do you think human capital is? You don't think that has something to do with the fact that some of these countries continue to be poor over and over again, year after year? But they never talk about that. They just want to throw race in your face. Maybe, just maybe, if they live in a place that has some sort of communist dictatorship, whether it's Venezuela, whether it's Cuba, maybe they should work to remove that dictator. And I want to make it clear. I'm not saying that that's easy. You don't just go out and vote away your communist dictator. However, running from the problem is never going to solve the problem. Also, let's be clear, this is still not our problem. It still is not our problem. How many is too many? That's the answer I want from liberals. I want to talk to these people and I want to ask them straight out, how many illegal immigrants would you consider to be too much? How many would you consider to be too much? Because currently, I would say we've hit our breaking point. And look, as a New Yorker, as someone who comes from a liberal place, hearing the sanctuary city nonsense over the course of the vast number of years, and now seeing what it has done to my great city, I can't imagine what it's done to Eagle Pass, Texas. I can't imagine that whatsoever. Things are getting so bad down in Eagle Pass right now that the Texas government is actually enlisting the help of private citizens to put up razor wire around their ranches on the border. This comes from the Daily Mail. Texas ups the ante again, looking for ways to expand the use of the razor wire, this time on private property after the controversial Supreme Court ruling. The Texas border czar, Mike Banks, told ranchers on Wednesday the state could install razor wire on their private property free of charge. The state official told a packed room of ranchers who met just outside of Eagle Pass, Texas. This comes as the Supreme Court, we know that, blah, blah, blah. The border has been put in place by order of Greg Abbott. In the past, federal agencies have cut the razor wire when they believe the migrants are in danger. You know what else is funny too about this? We have to cut our razor wire. We have to remove our buoys. We have to remove our shipping containers because the illegal immigrants who are invading this country are unsafe. Not once have I heard some liberal say, why doesn't Mexico stop them from getting into the river in the first place? Because you see, here's how you have to look at things when you see illegal immigration. No matter what, it is always America's fault. No matter what. Yesterday, again in that Twitter space with Mario, for those of you who are on Twitter, you guys know who that is. We were talking, and this guy kept bringing up the fact that the CIA destabilized so many of these countries over the course of the last several decades, and that's why these countries are poor, and that's why we should, take these people in now. First off, that's a ridiculous argument. Yes, did the CIA back the Contras in Nicaragua? I'm sorry, Nicaragua, right? Whatever, that's not the point. Did the CIA do all these things? Absolutely. 50 years ago. I'm sorry. I don't know how long it takes for you as a nation to get your act together. But again, not our problem. Did we overthrow the ruler of Iran, setting the nation into chaos? Yeah. Again, 50 years ago. Then they started talking about blockades in Cuba, about how we've got all these policies that hurt the Cuban people. Again, not our problem. Everything is America's fault. So if you're ever wondering why many of these liberals feel this way, they can always trace it back to something America did. Not the fact that many of these people have inflation rates that are through the roof. Not the fact that they've allowed crime to run rampant in their country over the course of the last several decades. Not the fact that many of them have installed communist dictatorships that bleed their country dry while they live in villas and the rest of their people live in favelas. No. It's not that. It's America's fault. Yet, these are the same people who want us to intervene in Ukraine, who want us to intervene in Taiwan, who want us to intervene in Gaza, who want us to intervene in Yemen and Saudi. Same people. They can't get their act together. See, Ukraine is doing bad because America's not supporting them. But Nicaragua is doing bad because America did support them. That is the mind of the liberal. That is the mind of the white liberal. The person who makes $175,000 a year and bitches and moans on the internet on their blog. That's the way they think. Because living life in a Fifth Avenue penthouse, things are pretty good. If you have your advanced degree, and we're going to get into it because I had some fun at the expense of Taylor Lorenz this weekend because she decided that she was going to throw a little temper tantrum about the media. We're going to have a whole lot of fun with her in a little bit because we're going to talk about these people and just how bad they actually are. Just how bad they actually are. So we're going to get to that in 1 minute. Before we do that, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share this video out all over the place. Let's pop this Rumble chat up on the screen. How's everybody doing today? We got, guys, as always, 2-hour show. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section below the video. Or in whatever the comments section is so that I can read them as they go on. If you put it in the live chat, I'm not going to be able to see it because that eventually goes away. So if you have any questions, please do let me know. Alrighty, we got breaking news. Amanda Collins, I will get to that. Once again, guys, if you have any comments, any questions, you want to, what are we doing here? Did we freeze? Did we freeze? I do not know. All right, I think we're back up. So if you guys have any comments, please do. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section below the video, and we will see. Hello from Southern California. Soondog says we need the hackers to hack the hackers. That seems like a lot. That seems like a lot. Robbie Sunshine, how are you? Amanda Collins, I saw that. I'm getting to that. I have that story. Dylan, how is it going? TD Hodges, good to see you. Willie Rumble, how's it going? Kevin, how is New York looking for Trump? Well, there are some plans in place. All that will come to light as we get further into the election season. But we are looking at some things. Haven O'Connell, hello from Florida. Hello from Florida. Hello from Florida. Always gotta love Florida. Gotta love Florida. So let's keep on moving and grooving here as we do. Guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. Jeremy's having his huge sale over there. That's the best way to support this network by becoming a monthly donor to LFATV at lfatv.us. Pick up some Rise Up coffee. Pick up some of those Rapture Ready t-shirts. Giddy up, let's go. Giddy up, let's go. That's lfatv.us, lfatv.us. Wendy, great job in New Hampshire. Thank you so much. It was very nice to be there. Lovely place. Lovely place is New Hampshire. So we're going to get to all that. We're going to get to some fun here. So as I said, and later on in the show, in the second hour, I'm going to be showing you guys the full expose that James O'Keefe put out about the crazy sex parties that go on in Washington, D.C., so that ought to be fun. But for the moment, we are going to have some fun here, because, we like to do that. There is a woman named Taylor Lorenz. Well, a woman named Taylor Lorenz. Now, for those of you who don't know who Taylor Lorenz is, she's very oppressed in America. As a matter of fact, she actually got kicked off Twitter after Elon Musk bought it for doxing the person who runs the channel Libs of TikTok. She got kicked off for doxing the girl from Libs of TikTok. So she put out a memo the other day about how there are these massive media layoffs going on, and how bad that is for the institution of journalism. I'm going to show you her clip. It's about 3 minutes long. We're going to commentate as we go along, because I want you to see how oppressed this girl is. And I want to be clear. When I say she's oppressed, she has worked for Business Insider, The Hill, The Daily Beast, The New York Times, Washington Post, and she was also a visiting fellow at Harvard. She was also named by Fortune magazine as one of the 40 under 40 in 2020. So she's very oppressed. Let's listen to this.
The entire journalism industry is basically in a free fall. Today, the Los Angeles Times laid off 115 employees.
Before we get to that, before we keep on moving and grooving on that one, the Los Angeles Times laid off 115 people. 115 people. Now, the LA Times is a major publication in this country. Major publication. Now, so why would they be laying people off? Could it have anything to do with the fact that the LA Times runs headlines like this one? How white and affluent drivers are polluting the air breathed by LA's people of color. Could that be why nobody watches them anymore? Just a thought. But let's keep going on the oppressed Taylor Lorenz. Her life is very sad.
They wiped out their entire DC bureau in an election year. They laid off pretty much all of their sports teams. They killed their entire tech and business section. They laid off breaking news writers, social media editors. The list goes on. But what's really dark is this is just the latest in months and months and months of layoffs in the media industry. In fact, tens of thousands of journalists have been laid off in the past year. Major media companies like BuzzFeed News have completely shuttered their news operations.
Now, I want to be clear. When she says media outlets, she's not talking about media outlets like this one, because we're growing bigger and badder every single day, and that's because of you guys. We're almost at 78,000 subscribers right here on Rumble alone. So, yes, some people are laying off, but some people getting bigger and better.
Time Magazine also just laid off a ton of people, and Sports Illustrated basically shut down last.
Well, Sports Illustrated shut down because they put trannies on the cover of their magazine in bathing suits, and it turns out men don't look very good in bikinis. Also because of the fact that they got caught letting AI write some of their articles instead of actual humans. So it turns out that journalists, once AI gets a little bit better, we don't need you anymore, but let's keep going.
Week. Pretty much the entire digital media ecosystem that myself and a lot of other millennial journalists came up in has been completely hollowed out. And it's not just digital media sites. Local news has been obliterated. The newspaper industry is cratering. Radio is essentially dead aside from NPR, which has been gutted. Meanwhile, hundreds of workers at Condé Nast, the parent company of pretty much every major magazine from GQ to Vogue to The New Yorker to Vanity Fair, are on strike because they're also facing impending layoffs. Even mainstream national media outlets owned by billionaires like the Washington Post, where I work, and the Atlantic, where I used to work, have
The Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos. I want to be clear.
on layoffs. If you're a young journalist today, there's almost no on-ramp to traditional journalism. Even if you do get a job, journalists' salaries have been stagnant and even declined. And by the way, we don't make that much to begin with.
We're going to have some fun with that one.
I don't think people understand how bad the world would be without journalists. And let me just preface this by saying, for people that don't know my background, I did not go to journalism school. I built my own audience on the internet. I came from outside journalism and started as a blogger, and then entered into legacy journalism, a system.
Started out on her own. Well, I mean, obviously we want to see the roots of Taylor Lorenz. She started out on her own as a blogger with nothing. She was out there with a notepad like April O'Neil. Well, that's not necessarily true. I've decided to look up things about Taylor Lorenz. Taylor Lorenz, who currently looks like a ghost. She doesn't look good anymore. She used to be a little bit heavier. Taylor, go eat something, please. You don't look healthy. But let's look up Taylor Lorenz. So Taylor Lorenz, for any of my Northeasterners here, grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut. Very, very oppressed. Greenwich, Connecticut. She went to Greenwich High School, where there are 13 students in every classroom. 13 students to every one teacher. How many students were in the class you went to? 25, 30? If you're from Brooklyn, maybe 50? Very oppressed. After graduating from Greenwich High School, she's from Old Town Greenwich, by the way, not regular Greenwich. After graduating from Greenwich High School, because, Taylor Lorenz, she started out on her own with no connections, mind you. No connections. After graduating from Greenwich High School, a town that, I want to be clear, is 3.3% black and has a median household income of $511,000 a year, according to CNN Money. $500,000 a year is the median salary in the town she grew up in. After going there, she went to a college called Hobart and William Smith College. Hobart and William Smith College. What do you think? Are you thinking to yourself, what the hell is that, Kevin? I've never even heard of that. Well, there's a reason why you've never heard of it, because you're a regular person. It turns out tuition at Hobart and William Smith Private College is $62,000 a year with a $10,000 meal plan. So if you want to start from nothing, just like Taylor Lorenz, all you've got to do is go to a college where you're going to rack up $300,000 in student loan debt after living in one of the richest counties in America, so that she could start her online blog while I'm sure her parents paid for her car insurance, her rent, her cell phone. I'm sure they paid for all of that for Taylor Lorenz. But, she did it all on her own before getting a job at the New York Times and the Washington Post. Let's continue.
That I have been incredibly, incredibly critical of pretty much my entire career. So I'm definitely not some mainstream media defender. And I think
not a mainstream media defender. Well, I'll say that one more time. Business Insider, The Hill, Daily Beast, New York Times, Washington Post, visiting fellow at Harvard.
the rise of citizen journalism on apps like TikTok, Instagram, and elsewhere has overwhelmingly been a positive thing. The journalism industry is overrun with elite, underqualified, rich, entitled Nepo babies, okay? And that part of it is terrible. But that's not most journalists, and the
$70,000 a year college.
majority of journalists losing their jobs in situations like this are the working journalists that are doing these investigations of police brutality or investigating corporations or holding power to account or doing really thoughtful, brilliant cultural commentary. I don't want to live in a world where all of the news is delivered through 60-second TikTok videos with retention editing. And
Well, Taylor, why don't you watch this show? I'll be on for 2 hours today. You can keep it locked in here all the way until 3 o'clock. Maybe then you'll find out some actual news, like what's going on down at the border. Because we need to hold power to account. I'm sure your father made his money all legitly, by the way.
I think there's a ton of really talented journalists that are also just not great, like social media people. I think of some of my friends who are journalists who do really deep investigations or local reporting or sit through hour-long city council meetings to, hold some local politician to account. That's really important work, and it's work that somebody should pay for, and it's work that's not rewarded by these social media algorithms.
I don't know, networks like LFA TV, networks like the Daily Wire, networks like Steven Crowder and Bongino, guys over at The Blaze, they seem to be doing just fine. But why are they doing just fine? You know what? Those are all right-wing outlets. Let's take a look at a left-wing outlet, the Young Turks. They're doing fine. Why? Because they talk to their audience. They don't pretend that they're not elitists when they lived in a town where the average person makes $500,000 a year.
I would love if everyone could become independent journalists, but the economics are just not there. It's really, really hard to amass a subscriber base and then retain that subscriber base over time when you're doing investigative work. And that's if you don't get sued out of existence, by the way, after you publish the first critical story of a billionaire. And I will admit, a lot of these traditional media companies have accelerated their own demise. They ignored the internet for years. They're condescending to content creators and people outside their mainstream ecosystem. They constantly kowtow to corporate and political power. They have these false and deluded notions of objectivity, which, by the way, doesn't exist. And they push a lot of really racist, sexist, regressive crap. But that's not even why a lot of them are going out of business. A lot of them are going out of business fundamentally because the economics of the media ecosystem are broken. Most news companies used to monetize by advertising, and those ad dollars have been completely subsumed by Facebook and Google and tech giants. I don't really know where that leads us other than a pretty dire place where there's really no check on corporate and political power in this country. I did write a lot about this in my book called Extremely Online. I do think that journalism is something a lot of people won't realize they missed until it's gone.
A 3-minute long meltdown just to pump your book. Wow, Taylor Lorenz, you couldn't even clip on the microphone to go through your rant. There is nothing, and a lot of you may be asking, Kev, why the hell did you just go on an 8-minute long tirade about some yuppie bitch from Connecticut? And I'm going to tell you why. Because there is nothing more annoying on this planet than people who were born on third base and think they hit a triple. People like her who had every advantage in life and now is complaining that the corporate media landscape isn't what it is and people can't get a subscriber base and retain it. Really, this show grows every single day. Every single day. Every day, Jeremy Herrell's show gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Why? Because you guys are out there supporting the people who you believe in. You're not out there. Fox News fired Tucker and you said, no, we're good. You turned off the plug. You said, I'm done. You came to networks like this one at 8 p.m. You went to growing networks like Timcast. You went to The Blaze or pick your network. Why? Because mainstream media is not culturally relevant anymore. And to sit there and talk about how there's no independent journalism out there? Are you kidding me? I followed Matt Gaetz around a frozen tundra for a day. I went to New Hampshire for the primary and got the videos and got the interviews. I think we're planning a trip down to the border so that we can get you the stories you want. But this girl is afraid to leave her house because some people got the sniffles 5 years ago. That's real. She's doing all of her work from inside the house. And you know what? I'm sitting back and I'm just laughing. I'm actively laughing out loud. Because it turns out we don't need the networks. We don't need the New York Times. We don't need the Washington Post. I get more news on Twitter than I do from any of these outlets. Why? Because if you want to know what's going on in Israel or in Gaza, go follow someone who's in Gaza, who's in Israel. If there's an uprising in Pakistan, someone will be following a reporter there, reporting live on the ground. If you're in L.A. and there's a BLM riot going on in New York, follow me. Look at Drew Hernandez on this network. Drew Hernandez, literally, not to blow smoke, but Drew Hernandez just decided one day to go to a BLM rally, a BLM riot in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and ended up getting the story of the year, saving a young man's life in Kyle Rittenhouse. Why? Because he went out on the street with a camera. You want to be an independent journalist? Then go to where the action is. Any one of you can do it. If you're some retiree and you've got the time on you, I get it. People got work, they got kids, they got lives. I get that. Not everybody can do it. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone can financially do it. But there are people out there who can financially do this stuff. If you live in Texas, if you live in Arizona, get in the car and go drive to the border, film some stuff, and message me on Twitter, and it'll get out to the world. Message the people with the bigger accounts. Anyone can be an independent journalist. And watching people like Taylor Lorenz lose their minds over the death of journalism, she did it all herself. Kiss my fat ass, Taylor Lorenz. But there's two more stories that I want to get to about the death of media and how funny it is. We'll get to that in 1 minute. Before we do that, guys, head on over to 4patriots.com. That's the number 4patriots.com. Use promo code, 4patriots.com/LFA. That's 4patriots.com/LFA to get 10% off everything on the website. Guys, I'm going to keep telling you to pick up a 3-day, 7-day, 30-day emergency food supply kit. There's no reason you should not have that on hand and in your home at all times. It's just like a fire extinguisher. It's not something you want to not have when you need it the most. So head on over to 4patriots.com/LFA. That's the number 4patriots.com/LFA to get 10% off everything on the website, 4patriots.com/LFA. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Let's go. What are we at? As we're rocking and rolling here, did we get to 400 yet? Oh, I got to refresh the page to find out. We were at 373. What are we at now, chat? Let me know. 1,335 people watching. So share this video out. Let's get to 1,500. I think we had the biggest show ever yesterday at 1,400 viewers. Let's keep that rocking and rolling as we are moving along here. We need people to report facts and tell the truth. That's it. Well, we are going to have some fun with Tucker Carlson later because Tucker Carlson went to Canada and he really upset Prime Minister Castro. He really upset Prime Minister Castro. He's got them triggered to hell and back. It's going to be fun to watch. So make sure you guys keep it locked in here. Also, we're going to have some fun at the end of the show today. We're going to be talking about culture for the next hour. Ben Shapiro drops a music video with Tom McDonald. I haven't seen it yet. I can't wait to see it. I've got a feeling it's either going to be hilarious, amazing, terrifying, or some combination of the three. We'll get to that in 1 minute. Before we do that, let's refresh this page and see where we are at. Giddy up, boom, we're almost at 400. So it turns out that CNN's ratings in a presidential year have taken a nosedive. It's pretty funny that the New York Post reporting on how awful CNN has been. Check this bad boy out. It turns out that the CNN ratings have plunged, falling behind the History Channel and some obscure Western network in their prime time ratings. You heard that right. CNN now has worse ratings than the History Channel. You ready for this? Ratings challenged CNN total viewership in prime time last week, lagged behind the History Channel and an obscure cable network. founded by televangelists Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, that plays nothing but Western TV shows and films, according to the latest numbers. The most trusted name in news, which recently hired former New York Times and BBC boss Mark Thompson as its CEO, had an average of 539,000 nightly viewers in the 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. block, the 7-day period from January 15th to the 21st, according to Nielsen. The weak ratings were generated despite the coverage of the Iowa caucuses, which saw Donald Trump easily rout the GOP contenders in his bid for the White House. CNN not only finished behind rivals Fox and MSNBC, but was the 10th most watched channel on cable, getting beat by the Hallmark Channel, the History Channel, and something called INSP, a South Carolina-based channel founded in the late 1960s by Christian televangelists. Are you kidding me? The Hallmark Channel? How many depressed housewives are there out there that many people are watching the damn Hallmark Channel? Fox News, its parent company, had 2 million viewers in primetime. Fox had 2 million more people watch in primetime than did CNN. The death of media is happening in front of our eyes. And that's why it's so great to be on networks like this one. Even, look, there are rival networks we have out there. You know, people want to talk who's better, who's getting more views, whatever. Not really the point. You guys know the 2 networks I'm talking about. I'm happy when they get viewers, because the more viewers they get, the more people are unplugging from that crap. ESPN, the Disney-owned all-sports outfit, came in second place with 1.6 million viewers in primetime during the same period. You ready for this? Fox News got more viewers in primetime than the Buccaneers and Eagles game. MSNBC came in third with 1 million primetime viewers. CNN, 500,000. The most trusted name in news. Bro, nobody listens to you anymore. But that's not all. That's not all when it comes to mainstream media. That's not all when it comes to the mainstream media and how bad things are getting. There is a show that still airs on television. It was really big in the 2000s. You may have heard of it. It's called The Daily Show. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but there's some big news coming out about The Daily Show. We're going to get to that in 1 minute. Before we do that, guys, thumbs up. Let's go. 1,425 people watching. Oh, we just hit 400 rumbles. I think we're going to have some big numbers today. Bigly numbers, as the big guy likes to say. Bigly numbers. Hit the thumbs up button. Share this video out all over the place. During the next hour, I'm going to show you the James O'Keefe expose in its full. It's about 20 minutes long, but I want to promote OMG Media on this show as often as I possibly can. James O'Keefe doing great work out there, even after being screwed over by many of his friends. Yeah, I said it out loud. So be it. What are you going to do? But we're going to show you that full 20-minute expose. Guys, go support James O'Keefe. OMGmedia.com. OMGmedia.com. If you're looking to give to someone who's actually doing great work, we're going to show that in a minute. Before we do that, guys, Mike Lindell.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all my towels. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to mypillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's mypillow.com, promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's mypillow.com, promo code LOUD. Also, guys, if you would, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for our newsletter. Check out the shop. If you guys are ever looking to get involved, this is the place to do it. Over at our phenomenal newsletter, we just got a new hoodie, baby. New hoodie in right now. Let's pop this bad boy up on the screen so you guys can see that. Boom. Check it out right here. It comes in all colors. Let's see. Do we have it? Or we got it right here. Is it on the screen? Yep, it's on the screen. We just got the new Loud Majority USA hoodie in all the different colors. You guys can pick that up. Damn, that looks good. If I were you, I'd pick that up right now. That's over at loudmajorityusa.com. Use promo code LFA. It's promo code LFA to get 20% off everything on our website. Help support the movement. That's loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Promo code LFA20. That's 20% off everything on the website. So there's another story coming out right now about the death of media. The Daily Show, which, look, say what you will about Jon Stewart. He's a liberal, 100%. But he was very vocal against the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Jon Stewart is a fighter for our first responders. He is the reason, the sole reason, I believe, that 9/11 first responders were able to get lifelong health insurance from our government after 9/11. Nobody asked those guys to go down there on that day. They all stayed and dug out their friends. And the United States government turned their backs on them, and Jon Stewart fought for those guys. And you know what? He could have every liberal view in the world. But for that, and for that alone, I will give him thanks until the end of time. I was lucky enough, actually, a number of years ago, to meet the son of Ray Pfeiffer. Ray Pfeiffer was I don't want to say the face of the Zadruna bill, which gave 9/11 first responders health care through this country. I had the pleasure of meeting his son, friend of a friend, shortly after his father died. And to hear his father's story was absolutely incredible. There's some great stories he had with Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is coming back to The Daily Show. He's going to be hosting The Daily Show on Mondays only. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? Why is this the death of media? There's an old saying in music that when a band puts out their greatest hits album, that's when their career is over because they're no longer like putting out anything new. They said that about Saturday Night Live. When Saturday Night Live was dying, they started to bring back all their old greats: Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, David Spade, to try to bring back that nostalgia value. Well, Jon Stewart is coming back to The Daily Show after Trevor Noah ruined it. Now, why do I say this? Because despite the fact that Jon Stewart is a raging liberal, he did go after CNN and MSNBC sometimes. The Daily Show is doing so poorly, Comedy Central is doing so poorly, that they need to go back to the well and get Jon Stewart to come back to the network. Linear television like that is a dying breed. Robbie Sunshine, there you go. Credit where credit is due. He spoke out about the COVID lab origin story 100%. And he did it on Colbert's show, despite the fact that Colbert has been an unmitigated disaster since he ended the Colbert Report on Comedy Central, which was a funny show. Which was a very funny show when he was pretending to be Bill O'Reilly or Sean Hannity, one of the two. Now, the proteges that have come out of the Daily Show, and look, I don't really, for me, it's not about the viewpoint of the Daily Show. Because if you were young like me, when that show was on, you watched it. I'm 34 years old. Everybody watched the Daily Show. It was a cultural thing, and we've seen so much come out since then. Political comedy, political satire in a news-giving sense. Whether it's people who suck, like John Oliver or Samantha Bee. I try to do it sometimes, and I'll never be Jon Stewart, which is not a, not me going out on a limb here. But that changed culture, that changed comedy, that brought politics into the mainstream, and we started to see things get a lot more political after that. A lot more people get engaged, and a lot more people get involved. So there is no possible way to say that Jon Stewart did not have a cultural impact, be it good or bad. Be it good or bad. The Daily Show is dying. And in an era where you would think liberals would be out there looking for something on television that would speak to them, as we see MSNBC and CNN dying. To watch Comedy Central go back to the well like that is actually very sad. Actually very sad. I don't even know the name of the chick who's going to be on it for the rest of the time. Thursday through Friday. However, I'm sure, I have no doubt, on this show, we will be using clips of Jon Stewart from The Daily Show because sometimes he went after the left. He went after the left when they were nuts. He went after the left on the COVID thing. I'm sure he's going to have a party with some of these gigantic dudes playing in women's sports because while he is a liberal, he is not insane. So I'm curious to see where that goes from here. Now let's have some more fun. Because why do we need things like The Daily Show when we have people on the internet like Tucker Carlson? Why do we need The Daily Show when we have people like Tucker Carlson? Because Tucker decided that he was going to go to Canada for a speaking tour. And he ripped into Justin Trudeau. There's like a 25-minute long video. I suggest every one of you watch that. I'm going to show you a little clip of him going after Justin Trudeau and how some of the people in Canada responded, including Justin Trudeau. Here was Tucker Carlson telling Justin Trudeau to go back to Cuba.
Oh, we're going to go to Canadian Tire for an hour. Justin, can you watch my kids? I don't think you're going to do that. Once you hand him your country, it's totally cool. Don't worry. He's a good steward. But he will collapse under the weight of his own ludicrousness and go back to Cuba or do whatever he does. But I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just too great to check. Though if I ever meet him, I'm going to demand a 23andMe, like right away.
But before... And I think it's hilarious. It's hilarious that he said it out loud. On this show, we do not peddle in conspiracy theories. We don't peddle in conspiracy theories. Like the conspiracy theory that Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son. We don't peddle in that sort of stuff here. No. I would never tell you that Justin Trudeau is definitely Fidel Castro's son because I don't do things like that, okay? I don't do that. But before Tucker went to Canada, he decided to give a ring up to Ottawa to let Justin Trudeau know that he was coming. Here that was.
Thank you for your call. You have reached the media line. For all urgent requests, please send your request by email. Merci pour votre appel. Vous avez atteint la ligne médiatique. Merci beaucoup.
Yes, hi. I couldn't understand the French part, but it's Tucker Carlson calling from the United States. And I'd be grateful if you pass a message on to the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. We are coming to liberate Canada. We are coming to liberate Canada. And we'll be there soon. Merci.
I mean, God, how do you not love Tucker Carlson. And then, of course, we had to get the response. We got the response from the Ottawans, from the Canadians. Here was little baby bitch boy Justin Trudeau complaining about far-right extremism.
My very first call this year was with Volodymyr Zelensky, who wanted to know that Canada still stood with him, that Canadians still stood with him. And I told him, yes, we do. The Canadian government and most of the parties in the House will continue to stand with him. But Pierre Poilievre and his Conservatives chose to vote against support for Ukraine, calling it a faraway foreign land to appease Putin apologists like Tucker Carlson and those who enable him. Well, while he does that, we have people like Yvonne Baker and Mark Gerritsen who are showing our Liberal government won't back down when it comes to standing up to bullies and fighting for democracy at home and around the world.
Do you think Justin Trudeau finds it hard to hide the fact that he's gay? I mean, do you think it's tough for him? I don't know. It's got to be difficult. It's got to be difficult. But he wasn't the only one. Here were some other Canadians who were very, very scared. Very scared. Ooh, Tucker Carlson is coming. Everyone run. Tucker Carlson is coming.
You brought up Pierre Poilievre's name in your comments. I mean, is this going to be your strategy effectively going forward, is tying Pierre Poilievre to Trump?
He wants to be prime minister of this country. What happened last night is not acceptable. Is he going to condemn that? If he wants to run for prime minister, he should have the courage to condemn those. It's not acceptable in our country.
So that's going to be your strategy?
People attended, sir. I mean, what do you make of the fact that there is an audience for it and for their perspective?
Well, as I said in French, the extreme right politics, don't ask the question if it's coming to Canada. It's already here. And they're bringing it.
So just so you guys can get some context, there is a... I believe it's British Columbia. I could be wrong. Invited Tucker Carlson to Canada to come speak. There is one section of Calgary, Alberta. In Alberta, it is very conservative, and they invited Tucker Carlson to come speak, and that was the response from some of the liberals up in Canada. Carlson did not hold back at his latest jab at the Canadian dictator. During his speech, Tucker delivered a striking line that provoked a strong reaction from the audience. He will collapse under his own weight before he goes back to Cuba. He also said, quote, "If I ever meet him, I'm going to demand a 23andMe, like right away." Carlson continued, drawing on the popular DNA testing service to emphasize his point that Justin Trudeau is, in fact, Fidel Castro's son. Now, of course, the good people out there like Justin Trudeau who want to talk about far-right extremism, they don't really mention the fact that Justin Trudeau once looked like that. He decided to go to a party dressed in blackface. We're not going to talk about that. First off, he's dressed up like a genie. I'm not totally sure why he's in blackface, but that's not really the point. The point is that good people like Justin Trudeau, they get to get away with that crap while the rest of us sit back and we're not allowed to make mistakes. But Trudeau, of course, he is one of the good people. He's one of the good people. Now, there was another clip of the Canadian parliamentary ministers getting very upset about Tucker Carlson.
And Minister Devo, I mean, you're the minister that, as your colleague was saying, was targeted. I mean, how do you feel about your name being brought up?
I mean, this goes beyond me and the fact that I was targeted last night at this event. This increases political violence against everyone who runs for office in this country, whether they're doing it at the municipal level, at the provincial level, or at the federal level. As my friend and colleague Randy said, we can have differences of opinion. We can bang our fist on the table when we meet. We can have strong disagreement. But to incite violence against people who disagree with you, that's not how things should be done in Canada.
Can you clarify what is the violence? What is the violence? I think the minister also said this in French. What is the violence that they are bringing to Canada? What is the political violence that you're talking about? Just to be very clear.
Well, to put a target on someone's back, for example.
What is the evil?
To put someone in crosshairs.
So you can't even name somebody in Canada. That's political violence. If I don't know what that lesbian's name was, but I just assume he's a lesbian because of the collared shirt with the sweater with no collar. I don't know. Looks like he should be playing women's soccer. Just saying. I don't know. Maybe he's trans. Who the hell knows? But that's not really the point. That's political violence in Canada. Of course, in America, political violence is the same exact thing. You're not allowed to say anything bad about any particular individual. But we continue to win. We continue to win, and I truly believe that. I truly do believe that with Tucker Carlson triggering everyone in the Canadian media, or the Canadian press, we do continue to win. Tucker Carlson is bigger than he's ever been after being fired from Fox News. He's bigger than he's ever been. And all I can say is good for him. Good for him. Here's an update on the event. I did have the event wrong. I want to make sure that I get it correct. Tucker Carlson, two-stop tour through Alberta, ruffled the feathers within the Liberal Party, many including Justin Trudeau, dropping his name at the caucus. As the caucus met in Ottawa on Thursday, the pack of political politicians, including the Environment Minister, Stephen Gilbert, they got some weird-ass names up there, even went as far as to say the Fox News host and Alberta Premier Danielle Smith calling him out amounted to violence. So Tucker Carlson, I believe, I think the provinces up in Canada are kind of like governors. So the governor of Alberta invited Tucker Carlson to come speak to a packed crowd. And simply by saying this man's name, that is, of course, political violence. The Heritage Minister, Pablo Rodriguez, called the event unacceptable and appeared to dismiss the fact that with 4,000 people in attendance, those who wanted to hear Tucker Carlson speak were far from a fringe minority. Quote, extreme right politics, he said. Don't ask me the question if it's coming to Canada. It's already here. Well, I think you'll have to live with that. And by the way, Tucker Carlson is not far right. According to the CBC, during the event in Calgary on Saturday, Smith and Carlson were discussing the province's environmental policies when the former told the latter about what this angry lesbian said. He's an environmental zealot who once illegally climbed the CN Tower to protest Canadians' inaction over climate change. He believes, as he has the expertise and knowledge to tell us how to run our power grid. It's always about the environment to these people. It's always about bringing the environment around, bringing that down. So we should see. We shall see what happens there. Has Trudeau denounced Castro's violence? No, why would he denounce Castro's violence? That's his dad or his brother. Is something I wouldn't say on this show because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Because I am not a conspiracy theorist. Guys, let's keep on rocking and rolling. Almost 500 rumbles. Almost 500 rumbles. Heldon McGroin says, hey, I'm a lesbian. Hey, whatever blows your hair back. I would suggest that lesbians shave their face. I'm just saying, it's not for me, it's for them. Guys, hit the thumbs up button, share this video out all over the place. Once again, my name is Kevin Smith, filling in for the great Ryan Mata. I'm going to show you guys the James O'Keefe expose in just 1 minute. We're going to pop that Rumble chat up on the screen. I'm Kevin Smith, filling in for Ryan Mata. Usually I'm live 1 to 2 every day here on Rumble, filling in until 3 o'clock today. If it's your first time watching, I want to thank you. If it's not your first time watching, I want to thank you for sticking around because I want to make sure you guys all get to see this in its totality. You guys know James O'Keefe. He's a friend of mine. I think he does phenomenal work. I think he got screwed over by his company or by his nonprofit, but whatever. You guys are having a little bit of fun with that comment in the chat. So, as I said, we're going to show the James O'Keefe clip in its entirety. Guys, please do go to O'KeefeMediaGroup.com. That's it, O'Keefe Media, or is it OMG Media? OMG Media. Let me pull this up for you real quick. OMG Media. Oh, I'm sorry. It's O'Keefe Media Group. O'KeefeMediaGroup.com. Support people like James O'Keefe. So you guys remember a while ago, Madison Cawthorn, a young congressman. He was in a wheelchair. He was paralyzed. I got to meet him a couple times. Really nice guy. He was in his early mid-20s, I think it was. He talked about how he had been personally invited to all these cocaine-fueled sex parties down in D.C. Now, we know a lot of these people are philanderers. We know that these people are absolutely ridiculous. But we never really knew why they did the sorts of things that they did. Well, James O'Keefe managed to sit down with an intern in Washington, D.C. to go over exactly how these things operate. And it turns out that Madison Cawthorn was right about everything, and he didn't go far enough. When Madison came out with this claim, Kevin McCarthy got very mad at him, backed his primary challenger, and he ended up losing. Probably because Kevin McCarthy really doesn't want videos like this one coming out. Here's the full clip from O'Keefe Media Group. Before we get to this, guys, 20 minutes long. I want you to see the whole thing. Hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out. If you're new to the channel, hit the follow button. We are so close to 78,000. We can't do it without your help. Guys, hit the follow button on the channel. Give me a follow on Twitter. The link is in the comments. Check out James O'Keefe's video.
Hey, you're not a Trump fan, are you?
No. John needs to die. John needs to die.
Huh?
I said, well, then John needs to go. The majority of the work that I do is policy because that's what my degree is in.
Policy?
It's focused in policy. And so I do that's why I go to a lot of embassies and a lot of events at the White House.
You went to the White House?
I go to the White House.
So do you have to keep your mouth kind of shut because you're working for a Republican? You can't say?
Well, I really keep it to myself.
So you're like besties with Nancy Pelosi?
I love Nancy. My picture of Nancy Pelosi and I is on my desk.
I don't know if your constituents would want to know that though, huh? Would they be pissed off? They don't care.
If they do, they kiss the crack of my ass. There's a lot of things that I do here, and there's a lot of things that I see with my own eyes. Madison Cawthorn one line neither. That man in a wheelchair, the video that came out with the guy in the Senate office building in the hearing room.
Oh yes, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The guy was blackmailed.
He was blackmailed?
Pretty much.
Whoa.
So most members, they actually have spouses that are married. They have affairs with other council people, Congress people, Congress members in office. And they have like parties and stuff.
Like you're talking about sex parties?
Yeah, they want to talk a lot.
So these parties are like, it gets hot and heavy.
Yeah, it's like an in-house thing. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But 9 out of 10 times, everybody in there knows. But they actually, that is a fact. They actually do have these parties.
Does that happen a lot? Like people do something sexual and they blackmail? Have you seen that?
So it happens every now and then.
Wait, but they get blackmailed.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
Because it's like they have a leverage of, like if you have something like that, it's called leverage. And so what they do, they use against you to get something else. Majority of the members that come late are always 9 out of 10 times come over from the night before.
From the sex party.
So on the voting, you already have a piece of paper that tells you how to vote. Known as a suggestion. It's not a suggestion.
It's not a suggestion.
It's what we need you to vote.
Because we know we have information about you.
Right. They have a group chat that they tell people how to vote.
They tell people how to vote.
Yeah.
And they get information about them and use it as blackmail.
In a way, yes.
Well, I mean, I've never been to a party like this. I've been invited to them. My instant reaction to that is, especially the blackmail piece that it seemed like this individual was talking about in this piece. That's something that I experienced firsthand.
But doesn't it make you feel like guilty sometimes?
I get my check and I'm good.
You get that money.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's all about.
I like to buy nice things.
You like to buy nice things? So you get that money, you like to buy, what type of nice things do you like to buy?
I love a Louis. So the one thing I want is a jumper. I want the jumper. I like a lot of things. That's it.
That's what you look on your arm, What's your favorite bag of all bags?
Congressional records show that Titus Warren worked for Congressman Westerman's office in 2023 with the Committee of Natural Resources. He told me he was just offered a program with CHIPS, a program offered through an executive order at the White House. What did you say that CHIPS was again? Like, what does that mean?
So CHIPS is inside the Commerce Building. So CHIPS is a program offered through the White House Executive Office. It's an internship program. It's where you, it's pretty much the CHIPS Act. This is what it came from. It was to provide broadband and resources for the for rural communities.
Although Titus is just an entry and very low-level person on Capitol Hill, he's been to the White House, spent time with the leaders of both political parties, witnessed and heard a lot of congressional staff doing and saying things. What he has heard and seen, we believe people need to hear. We also believe it will encourage other interns, bartenders, contractors, and members of political parties, anybody who is on the inside, come forward with more information.
The majority of the work that I do is policy because that's what my degree is in.
Policy?
It's focused in policy. And so I do a lot of, that's why I go to a lot of embassies and a lot of events at the White House.
That sounds, you went to the White House?
I go to the White House.
Do you meet the president?
Have I met him? No. I have met thank you, sir. I have met pretty top officials, you know.
So you work with like the Republic, I forgot his name, Westmoreland?
Yeah.
And he's like a Republican? But you're not.
No. So I'm just in LA.
What's that?
Legal, LA.
But in your job, you've like heard things. You've seen people say things to you.
There's a lot of things that I do here, and there's a lot of things that I see with my own eyes.
Even though Titus works for a Republican, he says he is a secret Democrat and has to keep it on the down low. He says he loves Pelosi, does not like Trump, and talks about what he thinks about his constituents.
Look, I work in a Republican office, so I can speak on the Republican.
You what?
I work in a Republican office.
You do?
I do. I'm not Republican, by the way, but I do work in a Republican office. I told you I met Nancy Pelosi. I love Nancy Pelosi.
Met? Yes, that's right. You did say that. And you're not a Trump fan, are you?
No.
So do you have to keep your mouth kind of shut because you're working for a Republican? You can't say?
Well, I really keep it to myself.
Does your boss know how you feel?
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Because my photo of Nancy Pelosi is on my desk. So I'm sure he does. Well, I'm sure he does because my picture of Nancy Pelosi and I is on my desk. Here's me and Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, wow. What a beautiful color.
Every time I see her or we run into each other, you know, sometimes I'll go in her office and I'll just go in her candy bowl in her office.
So she knows you pretty well.
Yes.
She likes you.
Love Nancy. Love Nancy.
So you're like besties with Nancy Pelosi?
Love Nancy.
And you're working for a Republican. I don't know if your constituents would want to know that though, huh?
What?
Would they be pissed off? They don't care.
If they do, they kiss the crack of my ass.
They can kiss your ass.
Because I don't care. Because
you don't care?
My opinion. When I actually went to go, you know, home and whatnot, and I posted the photo of Nancy and I, my dear friend, they own a trucking company back home. She said, "Oh, so you was friends with Nancy?" I said, "And I was, and I love Nancy too."
And what did he say?
And she said, "Nancy's gotta go." That's what.
And what did you say?
And I said, "Well, then Donald needs to die."
Huh?
I said, "Well, then Donald needs to go."
What does your boss think?
Well, he's for Trump, obviously. But
that must be frustrating.
I
love how you said to your constituents, you're like, you can kiss my ass.
You can. They can kiss the right ass.
They can kiss your ass.
A Senate staffer was busted in December in a viral video having hardcore gay sex in a Senate hearing room. The staffer was 24-year-old Aiden Maiz Sarofsky and was promptly fired by Maryland Senator Ben Cardin. According to Titus, this is the norm, and there was blackmail involved.
Well, it was right before they all went on Christmas break. The video that came out with the guy in the Senate office building in the hearing room.
I forgot which one.
Came out in the Senate hearing room.
Okay. Oh yes, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That actually did not happen the day it came out. That happened way back when. That happened in the summer.
Really?
What happened was, I don't know if you ever watched Red, White, and Royal Blue. Oh, you have to. It's, this journalist got mad at the staff that they wouldn't talk anymore. And so he linked it to another journalist so they can publish it. And then the guy was blackmailed technically by it because he didn't know they were publishing it.
He was blackmailed?
Pretty much.
Whoa.
That's why in his post he said, I'm taking all the legal options that I can. Because he actually has a ton. But to figure out who actually did it, it's going to be kind of challenging for him on his path. But hey, yeah.
Does that happen a lot? Like people do something sexual and they blackmail? Have you seen that?
So it happens every now and then.
Sex parties and blackmail were first spoken about by former United States Representative Madison Cawthorn back in March 2022. The congressional staffer we spoke to states these are very real, and he said it happens more than people think.
Before George Santos left, okay, I've got to give, he did not lie about this at all. Okay, so most members, they actually have spouses that are married or dead. They have affairs with other council people, Congress people, Congress members in office. And they have like parties and stuff. Do I go? I don't know. Never go. I never get invited to them because I don't care to go. But they actually, that is a fact. They actually do have these parties.
Really?
And it is only certain members. Not all members are into it, but certain members are. And it's always the ones that are like,
yeah.
Clowns. I call them clowns.
The clams?
The clowns.
They talk.
Talk all the time.
Like you talk about sex parties.
Yeah, they want to talk a lot.
So these parties are like, it gets hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
On a call, Titus dove into more detail on the sex parties. He told us if he were to name the person, it would put them in grave jeopardy, and he would take that information to the grave.
I'm sorry. I'll tell you what I heard, but I won't tell you who I heard it from because I'm not putting the person in jeopardy. But what I did hear is a lot of people, get brought, like couples to come in, and the couples will start making out with other couples, and men and women and women, and it's a whole big ordeal. Alcohol is a part of this, but furthermore, if it's cocaine related, no. I've not heard of a drug substance besides alcohol that is at this party. Now, that's what I assume that. I've not heard of cocaine. And personally, I'm not going to tell you that there is cocaine because the boss will lose their job. They do tell you what you do hear. That it's couples and couples, women and women, and men and men. But who told me that? I will not say. Will not say. That will go to the grave with me. I am new. Absolutely not. Done. No.
Go to the grave.
Yeah, I'm going to die with that secret.
But me, I don't ever go.
You invited?
Have I been invited? No.
Do you want to go?
I don't want to go.
It sounds a little...
Whoa. But it happens a lot more than more people think.
But no one ever...
Madison Carter in one line either. That man in a wheelchair, they goodbye.
Which guy is that?
He was the congressman that was in the wheelchair.
I think I remember, yeah.
And he's the one that first mentioned it back in like 2021 before he got out of his seat. He wasn't lying. I thought it was a joke at home. I wasn't even working here.
Now, nobody reports on that. The media doesn't talk about that. They called him a liar.
Because the reason why, a lot of media and a lot of people in general don't know about it.
Really?
No. It's like an in-house thing. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But 9 out of 10 times, everybody in there knows.
And what do they do with these parties?
That I don't know. But I know it ain't like birthday cake and cookies.
We reached out to Madison Cawthorn and got his reaction.
Well, I mean, I've never been to a party like this. I've been invited to them. My instant reaction to that is, especially the blackmail piece that it seemed like this individual was talking about in this piece. That's something that I experienced firsthand. As soon as it's kind of a latent threat, it's kind of just an understood thing in Washington. It's not something that's ever really said to you, but it's well known that people can always have leverage points on you.
I would assume that the New York Times and CNN know about it, but they don't publish it.
Well, as they know, they would run the story, or they're not allowed to run the story.
Titus says these parties also serve a deeper purpose as a way for the ultra-powerful, the parties, and lawmakers to have leverage on members of Congress and other branches of government.
But they get blackmailed.
Exactly. That's
holy
because it's like they have a leverage of, like, if you have something like that, it's called leverage. And so what they do, they use against you to get something else.
Holy, whoa.
Oh yeah, it's like, that's just behind the scenes. So,
but you don't get invited.
No, I'm glad I don't.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't.
Titus tells us that votes are not suggestions, that members are pressured through the use of leverage gained by the sex parties in how they should vote.
A lot of the time, people show up late or don't show up at all to vote. Majority of the members that come late are always, 9 out of 10 times, come over from the night before.
From the sex party. It's like they get them on something and then they make them vote a certain way?
So, on the voting, okay, so they already, so when you go in, depending on what party, you already have a piece of paper that tells you how to vote, known as a suggestion.
Right.
It's not a suggestion, technically, it's how you're supposed to vote. So they're not actually thinking.
It's not a suggestion.
It's what we need you to vote.
Because we know we have information about you.
Right.
Really?
So it's never like.
But who comes up with these suggestions?
The parties. Whatever committee they're on. So for example, if they're on a, let's say small business committee.
Yeah.
There's a Republican side and Democrat side. They both have their different papers.
So these suggestive votes are not suggestions at all.
No. And they get papers, and they have a group chat that they tell people how to vote.
They tell people how to vote.
Yeah.
And they get information about them and use it as blackmail.
In a way, yes. If you ever run for office and you have been in where I am, you would use that as leverage to win your campaign.
Who's behind this? Like just the party leader?
In general.
Cawthorn also confirmed this leverage done on members of Congress while voting.
People always want to put you in compromising situations so that they can have leverage over you so they can control your vote.
Asked if Titus feels guilty about all of this, Titus says it's all about the money and getting his Louis Vuitton handbags.
But you're not really a Republican.
No.
But you work for one.
Work for one, love it.
Yeah, you're doing it. You're like a rebel on the inside.
I get my check and I'm good.
You get that money.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's all about.
I like to buy nice things.
You like to buy nice things. So you get that money. You like to buy. What type of nice things do you like to buy?
So this one thing that I sell, all my money that I'm saving now is for me to go to the Hamptons of the week, every weekend of the summer. So I like to go to Louis, Chanel.
Louis? Chanel?
I love those. But I love a Louis. So the one thing I want is a duffel. I want the duffel.
But doesn't it make you feel like guilty sometimes to work for the Republican, or is that no big deal? Like helping the Republican Party?
I don't.
But do you feel guilty, like you're helping the Republicans? You're like, dude, I just want that money so I can get the Louis Vuitton.
I don't.
You don't feel guilty?
No.
I went shopping with Titus at Burberry and David Yurman in Washington, D.C.'s Center Square. We looked at certain rings.
My new friend is looking for a little ring, and we're wondering the prices on these right here.
Yeah.
He loves blue. Is his birthstone?
The blue.
And he's a hard-working member of Congress.
Okay.
So he deserves a little gift today.
I like a lot of things. I do.
You like a lot of
I'm
things?
trying to.
Well, what about like this one? This one would look good on your arm, you know? What do you think? Titus told us again that the D.C. blackmail sex parties are not a conspiracy. Oh, I was doing some reading about that online. As everyone says, though, everyone says that that's just like a conspiracy theory, you know, but it's real. It happens. Wow.
It's not a conspiracy.
It's not a conspiracy.
It most definitely happens.
That's crazy.
Most definitely. And it's normal to some people, but not I.
Not you.
Not I. It's not normal. It's,
They just get that information and they use it against people.
yeah. So, in the morning, every morning, 2 a.m., the CIA does a brief.
The CIA?
Does a brief. And that brief entitles whatever the president's going to get briefed on that day. So that's where the policy comes in.
You'd get you involved in the CIA brief?
No. We just get the brief.
Oh.
We just get the brief that they give.
Is that like classified?
Yeah, but we get a lot of it like marked
Redacted?
Out. A lot of it marked out.
What was shocking to us is that Titus did not recognize me. I even asked him in my encounter if he's ever heard of someone named James O'Keefe. By the way, you ever heard of that? You ever heard of that guy? I'm not related to him, but you ever heard of this guy, Jim O'Keefe or James O'Keefe? You ever heard of that?
Yeah, the blogger. Blogger.
Some blogger. I don't know what he does exactly, but everyone that woman just said I look like him. People say that I look like him, but I don't know. But I'll see you on Wednesday, okay?
Yes.
Right. This is just part 1 of our series. If you're an insider in Washington, D.C., please reach out to us on our Signal or join us on our weekly Spaces show, On the Inside with James O'Keefe, between 4 and 6 o'clock Eastern. If you want to sign up to be an undercover journalist, join the American Swiper program here. And stay tuned. Wow. There's so much to go over there. First off, James, I want to say you do gay very well. James has an acting background, so he's able to do that sort of stuff. Wow, there is a lot to dive into there. I wanted to make sure you guys got the full video in context, that it didn't get cut up. So we're gonna get to my reaction to all that, because I have some serious stuff to talk about there in just a second. Before we do that, guys, hit the thumbs up button. Chat, let me know what you thought about the video. I want to know what you guys think about that. What you think was pretty funny there, what you thought was just as awful. Guys, hit the thumbs up button, share the video out all over the place. 1,700 people watching. I'm liking it a lot. 525 rumbles. Let's go, giddy up. So I want to know what your favorite part of it was. I gotta say, James, I love how sassy you are. Definitely a lot of sass there. I like when he looked at the camera. That was pretty funny. Let's dive into my favorite parts here. First off, the fact that kid gets a CIA briefing is terrifying. What is that? The fact that he gets a CIA briefing is wild. That's absolutely terrifying. I do love the part when they said that they had to get rid of Santos. They had to get rid of Madison Cawthorn. They had to get rid of these people for coming out and speaking the truth. They had to get rid of them because they're the ones who decided to out all of this stuff. Now, a part of this at the very beginning, I want to get to, which is so true. This kid Titus, whatever the hell his name is, said he worked for a Republican, but that Donald Trump needed to die. He was a giant liberal. He had a picture of Nancy Pelosi on his desk. I can confirm that this happens. This happened to me, as a matter of fact. This happened to me. A number of years ago, 2015, I believe it was. I interned with the New York State Senate in Albany. I loved my time up there. It was great. Albany is a very cold city. But in that internship program, there were 30 interns working in the state Senate. I can confirm actively that three people were Republicans.
Out of the whole thing, 27 Democrats worked in the entire internship. I know there were liberals that were placed in Republican offices. The irony, of course, is that the irony of it is that one out of the two of the conservatives, me and another girl, we actually went to the same high school, but and the third one lived on Long Island too. But 27 out of the 30 were radical liberals. And I know that they got placed in Republican offices. So how badly are they working for their constituents if they actively do not believe in the stuff that they are trying to put forth? This happens all the time. And why does it happen all the time? You know, on this show, we talk about it all the time, about how the big problem that happens in D.C. is the vetting of the people who get the jobs. They're pulling out of Harvard and Yale and Brown and Georgetown and Stanford, Duke. They're pulling out of these major liberal colleges, these elite liberal universities. Those are the kids whose uncles work in Congress, or maybe a senator themselves. That's who gets the jobs in the State Department. That's who gets the jobs on Capitol Hill. Now, why do I say that? Why is that so important? Because those are the ones you're dealing with. I got news for you, okay? The member, the elected member, most of the day is just being told where to go, what to do, who to talk to. You got this press hit now. Next, you're talking to CNN. Next, you're talking to Fox News. Then you've got a meeting over here. You've got to vote at this time. It's all the staff. So if you want to get to your elected representative, get to know their staff. That's the key to Washington, D.C., and that's the big secret that nobody wants to talk about. That's what you got to know. If you want to get to your elected member of Congress, find out who their staff is and get to know them. They're the ones making all the decisions. Same thing in the White House. You think Joe Biden's making these calls? You think Anthony Blinken is the one setting up these meetings with the foreign ambassador to China? Not a chance. Get to know the staff. You get to know your rep. Now, as far as the sex parties go, this is going to be something that's incredibly controversial. You guys know I say it on this show all the time. I don't care. I don't care about people's sex lives. I really don't. You want to have whatever freaky shit you got going on, have a party. My problem with it is when it then gets used as blackmail. A, because that's illegal. But B, that is not the way law should be conducted. That is not the way votes should happen. Secondly, if you were to list all of the things that members of Congress do that I would find reprehensible, who they have sex with and what drugs they do are at the bottom of my list. I've got a far bigger problem with insider trading, with, the bombing of a third world village, with letting our borders be open, with letting drugs pour into the country, with selling out our country to the military-industrial complex. I've got sending us to wars for no reason, lying to us on TV, keeping us all living in fear, running up inflation, stock market manipulation as a totality. Who you sleep with, or if you're doing blow at a party, I really don't care about that. Maybe you shouldn't do it. All right, some people think it's immoral. No problem. You know what? You're probably right. But if you ask me, what do you think is worse? The fact that Nancy Pelosi trades stocks with insider information and arranges wars so that she can make money off Raytheon, Boeing stocks? Or some first-term congressman is smoking weed in the bathroom? Which one of those is higher on your priority list? The insider trading, the bombing of countries for no reason, or the fact that somebody, that couples are sleeping together? Like, what really impacts your day? Because guess what, guys? Congress has the ability to send your kids to war. They have the ability to raise interest rates, lower interest rates. And I'm talking about the regulatory people. It's the State Department that stops goods from flowing all over the world. That's what I'm concerned about. The CIA spying on you. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about this kid who clearly has a drinking problem, getting classified CIA briefings. He should never be seeing anything in that file. That's the shit that worries me. Who you sleep with, who you bang, I really don't, I genuinely don't care. And you're right, I'm not saying that it's good. I'm not saying that it's bad. Well, what I am saying is that I am far more concerned with the way they screw over the American people than who they sleep with. I am far more concerned with the fact that we've sent $160 billion of our money that we've got to pay back that we borrowed from China to go support Ukraine. I'm far more concerned about the fact that 2 Navy SEALs just died next to the Gaza Strip for no reason whatsoever. So we can defend people fighting a war that we have nothing to do with, that we spent 20 years in Afghanistan, and my entire generation got sent off to war over nothing. They achieved nothing over there. They came back battered and bruised and missing limbs. That's what I care about. Who they sleep with, whatever. Whatever. Some people may not like that. That's just me. That's just me. It's why I left the chat up there so you guys can argue amongst yourselves. That's why I left that chat up there so you guys can all argue amongst yourselves. So, as I said at the end of the show today, we're going to have a little bit of fun. Apparently, Ben Shapiro is now in a rap video. We're going to play that for you at the end of the show today in just 1 second. Before we do that, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. Jeremy's having his big blowout sale over there right now. Pick up your Rise Up coffee, pick up your Rapture Ready t-shirts. We have a huge crowd today. I hope you guys like the 2-hour show today. What are we at? 555 rumbles. Giddy up. Let's go. LFATV.us. Support the network by becoming a monthly donor over at LFATV.us. That's LFATV.us. Before we get to the Ben Shapiro video, there is another video I want to show you. Apparently, Alabama executed some guy yesterday for the murder of an old woman back in the 80s. And they didn't do it the way they usually do it. And I'm not sure if I'm okay with this. I'm not sure if I'm okay with this being the way the government executes people. I mean, cruel and unusual punishment is not something that we are in favor of in this country. And this execution with nitrogen gas seems to be very, very odd. Let's check this out.
Alabama on Thursday executed a prisoner with nitrogen gas in what was the first use of a new controversial method of capital punishment. Human rights groups, UN torture experts, and lawyers had sought to prevent it, saying the method was risky, experimental, and could lead to an agonizing death or non-fatal injury. Kenneth Smith was convicted of the 1988 murder for hire of Elizabeth Sennett. He was one of only a few prisoners to have survived an execution attempt. In 2022, Alabama officials aborted his execution by lethal injection after struggling for hours to insert the needle in his body. In Smith's second trip to the execution chamber on Thursday, executioners restrained him in a gurney and strapped a respirator mask to his face. A canister of pure nitrogen was attached to the mask that, once flowing, deprived him of oxygen. Alabama Corrections Commissioner John Hamm told reporters the execution had gone as expected.
It appeared that Warren Smith was holding his breath as long as he could, and then there's also information out there he struggled against his restraints a little bit, but there's some involuntary movement and some agonal breathing. So that was all expected and is in the side effects that we've seen or researched on nitrogen hypoxia. So nothing was out of the ordinary what we were expecting.
Smith's spiritual advisor, Reverend Jeff Hood, who was at Smith's side for the execution, gave his own account.
What we saw was minutes of someone struggling for their life. We saw minutes of someone heaving back and forth. We saw spit. We saw all sorts of stuff from his mouth develop on the mask. We saw this mask tied to the gurney and him ripping his head forward over and over and over again. And we also saw correction officials in the room who were visibly surprised at how bad this thing went.
5 journalists who were allowed to watch the execution said that after the nitrogen began to flow, Smith shook his head and writhed on the gurney for about 2 minutes, then breathed deeply for several minutes more before his breathing eventually became imperceptible. Before the nitrogen was switched on, Smith made a lengthy final statement that began, quote, "Tonight, Alabama caused humanity to take a step backward." Leading up to the execution, Smith had mounted legal challenges in federal courts, arguing that Alabama's new method amounted to unconstitutional, cruel, and unusual punishment. The U.S. Supreme Court's conservative majority ultimately rejected Smith's final appeal to delay his death. Oklahoma and Mississippi have also approved nitrogen asphyxiation methods for executions, but have yet to deploy it.
I don't know about you guys. That sounds pretty rough to me. Look, I don't think we should be torturing people when we kill them. Look, I am pro death penalty 100%. I think that there are some people that need to be executed. They have broken the compact with society. But that sounded not good. I don't know if we should be doing it that way. Bring back firing squads. 100% works. Or just, let them loose in Chicago and the neighborhood will just do it themselves. Also, I have a serious question here. This guy was convicted to death in 1988, and they only just executed him yesterday? This guy has literally been in jail awaiting to be executed my entire life. I'm 34 years old. I think leaving somebody in jail for that long is cruel and unusual to begin with. If you're going to execute somebody, you want to do it the next day. Boom, bingo, bango, get it done with. 34 years in jail. You might as well let him live the next 10 years. He'll die of natural causes. I don't know. Something about that seems incredibly weird to me. Incredibly not okay. But, hey, what the hell do I know? What do I know? Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to have a little bit of fun right now. So as I said, Tom McDonald, who has become a real cultural sensation with his sort of anti-woke, right-wing, some would say, rap music. He's had cultural figures in his music videos before, but he has just decided to record a music video with Ben Shapiro. I know some people don't like Ben. I like Ben. It's not a big deal. Ben, who is an Orthodox Jew and hasn't listened to a new song since 1785, appears in the video. We are going to watch that video together in 1 minute, and we're going to get a reaction about that. I haven't seen the video yet. We should have a little bit of fun with it. Before we get to that, Mike Lindell.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog beds.
Whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. So look, if you don't like rap music, if you don't like Ben Shapiro, if you don't like Tom McDonald, that's cool. I'm going to play the video. It's called Facts. I think it's important for figures on the right to break into the cultural sphere. So we're going to see how this goes right now. This is Tom McDonald featuring Ben Shapiro in a song called Facts.
They call me offensive, controversial. There's only two genders, boys and girls. They can't cancel my message because I'm the biggest independent rapper in the whole friggin' world. Claim that I'm racist, yeah, alright. I'm not ashamed because I'm white. If every Caucasian's a bigot, I guess every Muslim's a terrorist. Every liberal is right. I don't wanna talk to folks who don't get it. Go woke, go broke, no hope, it's pathetic. Pro-choice, pronouns, pro-love, you're progressive. But you ain't pro-gun, no one to protect it. Where the American flags at? Remember when people would hang those? They've been taken down, they all been replaced with BLM flags or a rainbow. This ain't rap, this ain't money, cars and clothes. We ain't selling drugs, we ain't gonna overdose. We ain't pushing guns, ain't promoting stripper poles. We won't turn your sons into thugs or your daughters into hoes. I don't care if I offend you. are my pronouns, I'm the man who don't respect.
All right, so not one of Tom's best songs so far, but we'll see where it goes from here.
Let's look at the stats. I've got the facts. My money like Lizzo, my pockets are fat. Homie, I'm epic. Don't be a wap. Dog, it's a yarmulke. Homie, no cap. Look at the graphs. Look at my charts. You're blowing money on strippers and cars. You going to prison. I'm on television. Dogs, no one knows who you are. Keep hating on me on the internet. My comment section all woke Karens. And I make racks off compound interest. Y'all live with your parents. Nikki, take some notes. I just did this for fun. All my people, download this. Let's get a Billboard #1.
This ain't rap, this ain't money, cars and clothes. We ain't selling drugs, we ain't gonna overdose. We ain't pushing guns, ain't promoting stripper poles. We won't turn your sons into thugs or your daughters into hoes.
All right, so we're running out of time here in the show today. I did like that. That was pretty fun. Not one of Tom McDonald's best songs. I did think it was pretty funny seeing Ben Shapiro in a rap song. I know some people on the internet are going to go, oh, my God, it's so cringe. It's so cringe. What a hot take. I do think it's pretty funny watching an Orthodox Jew go after Lizzo and Nicki Minaj. That was pretty funny. I'm going to listen to that back later on. Guys, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you stay tuned. Who is coming up next at 3 o'clock? I never do this part. Is it Pete Santelli coming up next? Is it Alan Jacoby? One never knows. Watch both of those shows. Pete Santelli and Alan Jacoby. I want to thank you guys all for sticking with me for 2 hours today, filling in for the great Ryan Mata. Ryan will be back on Monday. Guys, have a lovely weekend. Have a lovely weekend. I want to thank everybody so much. Until Monday, everybody. Stay loud, everybody.